What's going on, gamers? Back again with another tips video. These are 5 tips to help you improve your kill to death ratio in Call of Duty. If you like the video, leave a like, subscribe. And before we get started, I just want to say, yes, I do have my bad days too. I'm not a professional gamer. My kill death ratio is like a 1.45, I think. So I'm a decent player, but I'm not the best. And if you like the video, leave a like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions, and let's get started. Tip number 1 has to do with your controller configuration and your sensitivity. These are things that you can adjust from like the main menu before you even start playing the game. And what I recommend is go through your configuration and just mess around with it. I know if you don't like the default settings, you can always change that. I know the default settings L2 is to aim and R2 is to shoot, but you can change it to where you can put L1 to aim and R1 to shoot. If you like that, just experiment with it, see what works best for you, what's comfortable. I know some people like to use the L1 to aim and the R1 to shoot just because you don't have to press the buttons down as far, so you're a little more quicker with your aiming and shooting. Just something to think about. You might want to adjust those if you like, but if you like the default settings, then by all means just leave it like that. And also your sensitivity. You want to pick a sensitivity, like I said, that you can control, something that's manageable for you. It doesn't have to be super high, but if you can control your sensitivity at a higher level, then by all means do it. You're just going to be quicker and that much more responsive, which is obviously going to be better. But just experiment with it. It takes time to get a good sensitivity that you like. It's just going to take a lot of experience and a lot of playing. And that's tip number 1. Number 2 is gun control. You want to understand the recoil of your weapon. The best way to do this is to go into the shooting range and just spray your weapon at a target to see the pattern of the recoil. A lot of times the recoil from the guns will either go like a little bit up into the left or a little bit up into the right, and you just want to understand in which direction your recoil goes in, that we know how to manage it. And when you're like in gunfights and you're just holding down the trigger button and you're just spraying like crazy, you want to use the right thumbstick to slightly pull down on, that way you can more or less manage the recoil of your weapon. Also, burst firing your weapon helps manage the recoil too, and just missing a few shots in a gunfight can be critical and could be the reason why you lose a lot of gunfights. So it's really important to have good accuracy and be able to manage the recoil of your weapon. Tip number 3 is picking your gunfights. You want to know when to get into a gunfight and when to back out of a gunfight. What I mean by that is basically, say you're running down the street and you see an enemy sticking his head out of a window on a 2-story building. Chances are 9 times out of 10 you're going to lose that gunfight just because the other person has the height advantage and they have better cover than you. So a lot of times you're going to want to try to avoid that if you can. Now I understand, there's times where you can avoid it, you're in the middle of the open and you kind of just have to go for it, then try your best. But a lot of times if you can pick your gunfights, you want to pick them well and you want to have the advantage. You always want the gunfights to try to work in your favor somehow, whether it be having a better position than them or just having the life lead. So I think just doing something like that, knowing when to back out of gunfights, will help you improve your kill to death ratio a lot. You don't always have to get into every gunfight you see. Another good example is, say you just got out of a gunfight, you killed the person but you're wounded, and then you see another enemy. You don't want to try to kill him right away because, again, 9 times out of 10 you're probably going to lose that gunfight just because he has a life lead, he has more health than you, and you're wounded. So just little things like that, using common sense, will help you improve your kill death ratio significantly. Tip number 4 is your kill streaks. You want to get kill streaks that you can actually get consistently. I mean, it's cool to get like the paratroopers and the turret gunner as your kill streaks, but they're useless if you can't even get them. So I recommend being realistic, and according to your gameplay, you want to pick kill streaks that you can get pretty much every game. Me personally, I usually rock the UAV, the glide bomb, and the mortar strike. Those are what work for me. I usually get those every game or every other game or so, and they help me improve my kill to death ratio just because they give me quite a bit of kills. And that's at number 4. 5th and final tip is your map knowledge. You typically want to stay away from the center of the map just because, it's easy to get killed. There's so many directions and ways you can get killed from. So a lot of times you want to stick to the perimeter of the map and just work your way around the map. I understand there's certain times when you're playing certain game modes where you know have to go to the center, whether it be like search and destroy or domination, things like that. But when you do go to the center, just be cautious. You know, always try to be behind some type of cover and just be aware of where your teammates are at and have an idea where the enemies are going to be. But a lot of times I find that if you put yourself in a good position where you have a good view of the whole map, you don't necessarily have to go to the center of the map to get a lot of kills. And you're not also putting yourself at risk as much. So I usually find that's what works best for me, and I don't necessarily go to the center of the map, and I do get a decent amount of kills. But that's pretty much going to be it with the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was really informational. Hope it makes you guys a better gamer. And like I said, leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want, and catch you in the next video.
Damn fine work, soldier.
Feels like we're on the